Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'm sharing the cards I made using Love From Lizi's December 2022 card kit. The theme is Winter Rose. This kit is absolutely beautiful, and unfortunately it has already sold out. But there still are some add-ons available, and I will have links provided in the description box below. Love From Lizi's exclusive card kits do tend to sell out quickly. The only way to guarantee receiving a kit is to sign up and subscribe. And I have provided subscription information in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first one is from Freshly Made Sketches. It's number 419. And if you are interested in any of the sketches I use in this video, I do share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. That link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to kristiemarcotte.com. For my first card, I have some white cardstock for the background, and I'm adding a panel of pattern paper, this really soft purple that sort of has the look of glitter on it in the background. I layered both of those pieces on some grayish purple cardstock. And this is cardstock from my stash. The kit does include several sheets of colored cardstock, but I always bring in additional cardstock since I love adding layers to my cards. This card will feature the 3 wooden snowflakes that are included in the kit. They have this really pretty glitter finish on one side. I'll glue all of those down using some liquid adhesive. I cut out the sentiment Winter Joy from the same purple cardstock. And both of the sentiments originally had a snowflake attached on the left side. I simply trimmed that off. And the sentiments are not part of the kit. It's from one of Love From Lizi's add-ons. I believe it's the Winter Rose die set. Love From Lizi released 6 new die sets this month, and they're so much fun. I used some liquid adhesive to adhere the sentiment. I have so many Christmas cards. I'm really trying not to make any more this year. There are some sentiments with the add-ons that you could use for Christmas cards, but instead I tried to make some winter cards. So I thought the Winter Joy worked well together. This snowflake that I cut off from the left side of the sentiment, I'll glue it onto the center of the wooden snowflakes. And I did cut out one more, so all 3 of the sparkly wooden snowflakes would have a smaller purple snowflake. I am placing an acrylic block on top for some added weight while I let that glue adhere. Then for just a little extra sparkle and detail, I'm adding a Love From Lizi peel off to the center of the 3 purple snowflakes. This is the mini circle style in the clear iridescent glitter color. I love how it adds that pretty glitter without any of the glitter mess. I used the larger circle for the 2 snowflakes on the left side of the card and the smallest circle for the snowflake on the right side. So there is my finished card, and this is card design number 1. For card design number 2, the card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 564. I selected this pretty marble looking pattern paper for the background. I'm adding a stitch circle die cut, and I did cut this out from some Pearlescent cardstock, which is one of Love From Lizi's add-on bundles. The stitch circle dies are a new set by Love From Lizi. She just released stitch circles and also stitched rectangles, and there are tons of dies in each of the set. It's nice having a large variety of sizes. Next, I'll add some peel-offs to the lower portion of the card. I'm using the Racing Green Mirror color in the pinstripe style. I used the widest and also the narrowest width. I did cut the peel-offs just a little bit wider than the card panel. I'll wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back, and layer this piece on some dark green cardstock. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. Next, I'll add a few of the beautiful floral ephemera pieces that are included in the kit, and I did put foam dimension on the back. The sentiment is the word Merry, and this is from one of the add-on die sets called Merry. I did cut out the sentiment 3 times and glued all of those pieces together just to add a little bit of dimension. Then I'll adhere it to the card using liquid adhesive. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the iridescent drops that are included in the kit. Put 3 of them around the sentiment and 2 in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. For card design number 3, I selected another marble-looking pattern paper, cut a strip, I believe about 2 1/4 inch wide by 5 1/4 inches. I also have some pink pearlescent cardstock, and this is part of the add-on pearlescent cardstock bundle. I'll layer both of those on some black cardstock. Next, I'll add this beautiful leaf ribbon that's included in the kit. I put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back side of that top piece. Remove the release paper, and I'll adhere it between the pearlescent cardstock and the pattern paper. I love how those little leaves just hang down. I'll wrap the end of the ribbon around the back, put some ATG tape on the back, and layer this piece on some green cardstock that matches that green ribbon. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base. For my cardstock layers, I generally add an additional 1/8 of an inch. So the black cardstock layer is 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch, and the green cardstock layer is the full A2 size. Now I'll bring in one of the beautiful floral ephemera pieces, and I did put foam dimension on the back. I'll adhere it on the right side of the card. For a sentiment, I decided to go with a very general sentiment of hello. I'm using the stamp set Hello Sunshine, and this was included in a previous Love From Lizi kit, but it's also available individually. There are 9 sentiments, all hello, in 9 different fonts. I am using my Mini Misty since I'm stamping it directly onto my card. And I'll be very careful not to touch that ink until it dries completely, since I did stamp it on some pearlescent cardstock. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the rose bling that's included in the kit. They are adhered together in strips of 3, but I want them separate, so I'll use my scissors to trim off that adhesive. I'll put 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 1 to the right of the floral bouquet. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 3. I love the beautiful colors in this kit. Lots and lots of pink. Now moving on to card design number 4. The card sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 49. Using Love From Lizi's new stitched rectangle dies, I cut out this beautiful pinkish marble pattern paper. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and also a little bit of liquid adhesive along that very outside stitched edge and adhere it onto some white pearlescent cardstock. Using the liquid adhesive will help that stitched edge lay down nice and flat. I'll add my card front onto a card base. For the narrow strip that goes across the card, I'm using some dark green cardstock, and I'll adhere that in place using liquid adhesive. The pattern paper that's included in the kit is absolutely beautiful, but I did find that most of the designs didn't really work well together. So instead, I'm bringing in more solid cardstock to work with the pattern paper. I selected another beautiful floral ephemera piece, and I did pop it up using some foam dimension. Instead of adhering that piece directly onto the card, I'll attach it onto a vellum stitch circle die cut. I'll adhere the ephemera piece down first, then I'll flip over that circle, add liquid adhesive just behind the area where the ephemera piece is. Then I'll adhere that to my card. On the card sketch, there are 2 small banners attached to the top of the circle. I'll be changing that up and adding the 2 banners in the upper left-hand corner instead. I cut out the longer one from some cardstock that matches the dark reddish pink color on the flowers, and the smaller banner I'm using the same dark green cardstock. I'll adhere those in place using some liquid adhesive. For a little extra detail and sparkle on the card, I decided to add a Love From Lizi peel off underneath the green strip that goes across the card. This is the silver glitter color in the sway design, and I'm using the narrowest width. Has this fun little wavy design on one side and it's straight on the other. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll add some of the sequins that are included in the kit. I'll put 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 3 in the lower right-hand corner. I'm using an embellishment wand to pick those up, adding just a small drop of liquid adhesive, then pressing them in place. The sequin mix has so many beautiful colors that match the pattern paper. I decided for this card to just go with the pink. The kits always include a sample size bag of sequins, but if you love sequins, you can always purchase the full size bag as an add-on. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 4. For card design number 5, I selected another lovely pattern paper. I used Love From Lizi's stitched rectangle dies and cut out 3 pieces, 2 the same and the other just a little bit bigger. For the background, I'm using some more pink pearlescent cardstock, and I'll add a couple of Love From Lizi peel-offs toward the bottom. This is the racing green mirror color in the pinstripe style. Since I will be covering up the very center, I was able to use some of the smaller scrap peel-off pieces. I'll wrap those ends around the back, layer this piece on some dark green cardstock, then I'll put my card front onto a card base. And the green cardstock layer for this card is 1/4 of an inch bigger than the pink pearlescent cardstock piece. Now I'll add my pattern paper pieces. I'll start with the largest one first. And for the smaller 2, I'm trying to line them up so the very outside edge is even with that larger piece at the bottom of the card. I'll adhere all of those in place using some liquid adhesive. I'll attach the small rectangle on the left first. Put liquid adhesive on the back of the final piece and adhere it in the upper right-hand corner. This card will feature some of the larger floral ephemera pieces. And just to give them a little more separation from the background, I'll be attaching them onto a vellum circle die cut. I will have the circle go off the edge of the card just a little bit on the right side. I'll flip over my card, trim off the extra, then I can attach both of the flowers. I'll put liquid adhesive on the back of the larger flower, adhere that one down first. Then I'll add the smaller flower down next on the right and putting it just a little bit lower. I was trying to be careful not to get liquid adhesive on the area where it goes off the circle until I was ready to actually adhere that circle down. I'll flip it over, put liquid adhesive just on the back side of the floral pieces and adhere it in place. I'll place an acrylic block on top for some added weight while that glue adheres. For a sentiment, I'm adding the word joy, and this is from one of the add-on die sets. I cut it out from some cranberry colored pattern paper, matches that dark red on the flower really nicely. I'll adhere it in place using some liquid adhesive. For a little extra detail on the sentiment, I'm using a white gel pen and adding a few highlights. Then for a final finishing touch, I'll use one of the ribbons that's included in the kit, and I've already tied the bow off screen. I'll adhere it to the flowers using a small glue dot. I was trying to figure out the placement of the ribbon without covering up the sentiment. Then I'll add a few of the iridescent bubbles. Put 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 1 next to the flowers. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 5. For card design number 6, the card sketch is from MFT. This is number 621. I selected one of my favorite pattern papers. Lots of pretty colors, and it has the look of glitter all over it, although the paper is nice and smooth. I cut a 3 by 4 inch piece, and I'll adhere it onto some dark blue cardstock. Next, I'll add this fun cloud piece, and I did use a stitch cloud die from Honeybee Stamps, although it is a retired die. And I used some of the white pearlescent cardstock for that white piece. I'll adhere it in place using some ATG tape and also a little bit of liquid adhesive along that cloud stitched edge. Next, I'll stamp the sentiment directly onto the card, so I am using my mini Misty. This is one of the sentiments that's included on the stamp set in the kit. And next month, Lizi should have the stamp set available for individual purchase. I'm using the Suede Shoes ink color from Catherine Pooler, and I did need to ink it up a few times to get a nice solid impression. Since I am stamping it on some pearlescent cardstock, I'm being very careful not to touch that ink until it dries completely. In the upper right hand corner, I'll add 2 snowflake die cuts, and these are from Love From Lizi's new Noel die set. I cut the snowflakes out of some pink glitter cardstock, and this is some cardstock from my stash. I believe it is left over from one of Love From Lizi's specialty cardstock add-on bundles. It's always good to save even the small pieces. I'll adhere both of the snowflakes using some liquid adhesive. The die set has the same style snowflake in a larger size, and it also has an outline for both of the snowflakes. But I decided for this card just to use the smaller size. This set also includes the sentiment Noel, so it's perfect for some Christmas cards. But using just the snowflakes, you can make some winter cards as well. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. After looking at the card, I decided it needed some peel-offs at the very bottom. I'm using the silver moondust color in the straight style, and this is the sheet that's included in the kit. I'll add one across the lower portion of the card, using a craft knife to trim off the end. Next, I'll add a silver glitter sway peel-off right above the straight peel-off. This is the narrowest width. I'll use the craft knife again to trim off just that tiny little extra bit. Then to finish off the card, I'll add some of the mini star peel-offs in the silver mirror color. Put 2 of them in the lower left-hand corner and 3 around the sentiment and the pink snowflakes. I was very indecisive where to place those final 3 stars. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 6. For card design number 7, I'm using the fun embossing folder that's included in the kit. It embosses and also cuts. I know Lizi's had some of these before as an add-on, but I believe this is the first time she's included one in her kit. I used some of the light purple pearlescent cardstock and also a sheet of gold satin mirror cardstock. And I wanted to use the gold for all the little hearts since they do cut out. And just to save on time on the video, I've already inlaid all those tiny gold hearts, and I put a piece of double-sided tape on the back side just to hold them in place. I'll remove the release paper, add some ATG tape, then I'll put a piece of white cardstock on the back side. I found it easier to line it up that way. Then I'll put my card front onto a card base, and I'll be stamping the sentiment hello in that open window. So I am using my Mini Misty. I'll ink it up a few times using some black ink. The detail from the embossing folder is so beautiful. The card really doesn't need a whole lot more. And I love how there's that open window where you can add another image or a sentiment. Instead of using the ephemera that's included in the December kit, I'm using some leftover ephemera that was included in Love From Lizi's September Super Kit. There's lots of purple, so I thought it would work perfectly with this purple background. I did pop it up using some foam dimension, and I'll adhere it in the lower right-hand corner. Then for a final finishing touch, I added a couple of gold mini heart peel-offs above the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did end up making 2 since I had already cut out that gold piece. I figured I would make a second and just reverse the colors. For card design number 8, the card sketch is from OWH. This is number 42. I'm using a very light purplish pink pearlescent cardstock for the background. And I selected another pattern paper with this pretty marble design. I'm layering everything on some black cardstock so it really has some nice contrast. I'll lay both of those pattern paper panels on the background before adhering them in place, trying to make sure to get even placement around the edge and between the 2 pieces. Then I'll layer this piece on some black cardstock, add my card front onto a card base. This card will feature another beautiful floral ephemera piece. I'll use some white cardstock for the image box, layer it on some black cardstock, then adhere that piece down using liquid adhesive. For most of the cards in this video, I did pop up the ephemera pieces using foam dimension, but for this card, I decided to glue it down directly using liquid adhesive. It's always good to have a few cards on hand that don't have the extra bulk. I just mailed off a large stack of Christmas cards, and postage stamps are not exactly cheap anymore. So if I can save a little bit of money by not adding any dimension, I'll definitely make sure to have a few flatter cards on hand. Next, I'll be stamping the sentiment hello, and I will be using my mini MISTI since I'm stamping it directly onto the card. My plan was to put it in the lower right hand corner, but I decided there was a little more room on the left side. This stamp set is one of my favorites from Lizi since it has all the different fonts for the word hello. For a final finishing touch, I'll add a few of the sequins that are included in the kit, sort of a rose gold looking color. I'll put 2 in the upper right hand corner and 1 above the sentiment. Using my embellishment wand to pick those up, adding just a small drop of liquid adhesive and pressing them in place. So there is my finished card, and this is card design number 8. For card design number 9, I'm using the large heart die that's included in the kit, and I cut it out from this beautiful pattern paper. There's a large heart outline die, and there's also a die to add this beautiful intricate design to the inside of your heart. Using some white pearlescent cardstock, I cut out another outline of the heart, and I'll glue those 2 pieces together. There are lots of little areas on this heart, so I'm trying to make sure to get enough liquid adhesive so there aren't any parts lifting up. Then I'll glue those 2 pieces together. I didn't get them lined up perfectly straight since I could see some of the white cardstock peeking out from the bottom, so I'm just using my scissors to trim that off. Now the heart is very large. It doesn't fit completely on an A2 size card. But that's okay, I'll still make it work. I'm using this pretty pinkish purple cardstock that's included in the kit, and I did use a quilted die from Honeybee Stamps to add that fun detail to the background. Next, I'll create a frame around the background just on 3 sides, the top, the left, and the bottom. I'm using the silver moon dust peel-offs in the pinstripe style. This is the narrowest width. I'll add one just on the inside edge, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of that cardstock showing on that very outside edge. Then I'll use a craft knife and miter the corners together, just remove those extra bits of the peel-off, and now I have this really fun frame. Next, I'll adhere the heart, and you can see how large it is compared to an A2 size card. The very right side of the heart will go off the edge. I'll adhere it down, flip over my card, use my scissors to trim off the extra. And that was fairly thick paper since I'm cutting the pearlescent and also the pattern paper together. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and layer this piece on some black cardstock. Then I'll add my card front onto a card base. The heart does fit better on a horizontal card, but you would still need to trim off part of it in order to fit it on an A2 size card. For a sentiment, I'll be adding the words with love, and I'm using a die set from Love From Lizi. It includes several different sentiments and also the outline. There's happy birthday, with love, and for you. I thought the with love would be perfect for this card. I'm using black cardstock for the letters and some of the white pearlescent cardstock for the outline. For the word love, all of the letters are separate pieces, but for the word with, the W is separate, the ITH are all hooked together, and then there's also the dot to the I. Once I have both of the words assembled, I'll pop them up using some thin foam dimension, remove the release paper, and adhere with love onto the center of the heart. I thought it would be fun to have each of the words at an angle. Next, I'll add one of the pre-tied bows that's included in the kit. It's so pretty. It has a silver glitter look, and there's a rose in the very center. Put some small glue dots on the back and adhere it in the upper right-hand corner. I usually just add 1 glue dot for the bows, but I also put some behind the tails since they were sticking up just a little bit. For a final finishing touch, I'll add some more of the iridescent bubbles that are included in the kit. I'll put 2 in the lower left-hand corner and 1 above the word love. So there is my finished card, and this is card design number 9. I think this card will be perfect for Valentine's Day. It never hurts to get an early start. Now moving on to card design number 10, and this is my final card design. I really wanted to use all the lovely snowflake images that are included on the stamp set. I have my mini stencil mat, a piece of craft cardstock, and I selected 3 different colors of Catherine Pooler ink. I have Pucker Up, Queen for a Day, and also Suede Shoes. I selected several of the snowflake images and put them on some acrylic blocks. Then I'm stamping them randomly all over the craft cardstock, trying to fill in all those little areas. The final snowflake is one of the smaller designs to fill in any of the gaps. And here's where I forgot to hit record. So I stamped the sentiment Love with the snowflake on the left side. I stamped it on the same craft colored cardstock. To add a little bit of separation from the background, I'm using some Love From Lizi peel-offs. I have the silver moon dust in the straight style and also the white in the pinstripe style. Then I'll layer this panel on some dark blue cardstock, add my card front onto a card base. I think the snowflakes look so pretty on the craft colored cardstock. I wanted to add a little more sparkle to this card, so I'm using the pink holographic peel-offs in the mini circle style and adding the smallest circle inside each of the pink snowflakes. And I'll use the medium-sized circle inside that larger snowflake next to the sentiment. The pink holographic color is my favorite of all of the peel-offs. I thought about adding some of the mini hearts in the pink holographic color, but it didn't really look quite right. I also debated about adding a few of the iridescent dots, but I didn't like the look of those either. So instead I'll add some more pink holographic peel-offs, this time in the pinstripe style, and I'll put 3 of them underneath the sentiment Love. Starting with the widest width, then the medium width, and then the final one is also the medium width. I'm just cutting each of them a little bit shorter as I add them to the card. It's always a good idea to save those peel-off pieces since you never know when you'll need just a small piece. And this is a great way to use up some of those small scraps. You can see on my sheet I have lots of little pieces. To finish off the card, I'm adding a little bit of sparkle to the heart inside the word Love. I'm using a clear glitter brush from scrapbook.com, and then I'll seal that off using some glossy accents. So there is my finished card, and this is card design number 10. I really like how this one turned out. It was really hard to pick a favorite card this time since I really enjoyed using the kit. Now here's another look at the 11 cards I made using Love From Lizi's December 2022 card kit. The theme is Winter Rose. I can't believe I'm using the final card kit for the year. This card kit has already sold out, but there are still several add-ons available. And I will add links in the description box for all of the products I used in this video. This is a monthly kit, so quantities are always limited. The only way to guarantee receiving a kit is to sign up and subscribe. And I have provided links for subscribing in the description box below. Lizi always offers fun and unique kits, and every single monthly card kit includes a brand new sheet of her peel-offs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.